Hey cheeky dogs, today we're going to talk about if Mackenzie is a boy or a girl.
What's going on?
And yes, I realize this might seem like a really weird or ridiculous question to even be having, but honestly, there's a lot of basis for it being both, like Mackenzie being a boy or a girl, especially depending on what country you watch Bluey in. So let's get into it. G'day cheeky dogs, my name's Margie and I'm an Australian currently living in America. Now the whole reason I'm bringing this up is the fact that this comment about Mackenzie being a boy or girl comes up so often.
Really?
All you have to do is jump on Reddit or on Facebook to any of the Bluey groups and just type in Mackenzie girl, and it is post after post after post. You get it. It's just a lot of people always either very surprised that Mackenzie's a boy in the Australian version, or are convinced that no, Mackenzie is actually a girl, and they even have fights with their spouses about it. So that's why we're bringing it up today, because I think it's actually a really interesting topic, and there's also something really interesting with what it's going to be like in some countries with future episodes, and I'll talk about that at the very end of this video.
10, then 11, then... I can't hold it any longer!
So let's just start with the English-speaking countries like America, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and the whole issue with Mackenzie being a boy or girl in those countries. And most of this just comes from the name.
Mackenzie! Mackenzie? Mackenzie? Hi, Mackenzie. Mackenzie? We've lost Mackenzie!
Originally Mackenzie is a Scottish name, and it is a traditionally boy's name.
What does the chief scientist do? He tries to figure out everything. And he fixes stuff. Sounds good.
However, in the 1980s, it actually started to gain popularity as a girl's name, especially in the US, and since then, it's actually more popular now as a girl's name than a boy's name. So just based off the name alone, a lot of people might have gotten confused as to the fact that Mackenzie is a girl, especially in season 1. This is something we'll bring up more with the voice actors, but generally children, especially child voice actors, are pretty gender neutral. It's very rare that you can specifically tell that someone sounds like a boy or a girl at such a really young age.
I'm going first! No, I can do it. Honey, let me try mine.
I know it happens all the time to my children. They get constantly misgendered, even when they're talking. So yeah, it's just something that happens in real life and on cartoons as well. So it's not surprising then with just the name and hearing the voice, especially in season 1, that people would think Mackenzie's a girl.
What if we don't need potion grass? We just use this chip packet. That won't work. It might. The barbecue flavour.
Now, we should of course also add to the fact that in the Australian version, or the English version, Mackenzie is voiced by a New Zealand actor because Mackenzie and his family are from New Zealand.
Except for your mate Mackenzie. You got that?
Got it. What's going on?
But in season 2, we get a lot more references to Mackenzie as a boy in terms of using pronouns of he and him, especially in the episode Circus.
Well, can't you make him? Yeah, if he doesn't want to, Bluey can't make him.
So I feel that generally would just clear up a lot of people not knowing, especially in season 1, because they do reference Mackenzie with he and him pronouns quite a lot in season 2. And then again, of course, in season 3, in the episode Space, the kids are all slightly older and you can really hear it, especially with Rusty's voice.
This is crazy. Mackenzie, your tether didn't break, did it? You unhooked it. Is that true, Chief Scientist?
But you can really hear now that he is voiced by a boy child actor.
Because I'm the chief scientist. It's my job to figure everything out.
And again, the pronouns that he's being referred to is he and him in that episode Space as well.
You're just gonna let him go? It's what he wants to play.
But of course, that's just the English version. And that's again where a lot of this debate comes up as to whether Mackenzie's a boy or girl, because Bluey is internationally dubbed as well. The Bluey fandom has a dubbing database of all the different voice actors, and in some countries they don't credit the kids who are acting with the voices, but in some countries they do because they're voiced by adults as well. But also some of the child's ones are also credited. So it's just, different to what happens in Australia where they don't credit anyone who's under 18. And that's for, of course, child privacy and protection reasons. But Bluey is dubbed in 40 different languages, which is a lot. And I went through the dubbing database, and basically about 22 of these versions actually had credited who Mackenzie's voice was. So I went through all of it to decide if they were child or adult voice actors and if they were male or female voice actors.
Okay, can we please start?
So in total, out of those 22 different languages that are credited, 17 Mackenzie is voiced by a male, And in 9, Mackenzie is voiced by a female.
Husband, be kind to your lion. I'm not your husband. Rah!
However, 3 of those female voice actors actually switched to being male voice actors from season 2 and season 3 onwards. So in the Czech version, in the Taiwan Mandarin version, and in the Latin American Spanish version, season 2 and season 3, Mackenzie has a very distinct male voice rather than a female voice from season 1.
El primer acto será un león saltando por el aro.
Now, I should of course mention that some of the adult voice actors as well, it's really common, especially for female ones, to also switch their voices so they can sound more feminine or more masculine with different roles. We've seen this already in The Simpsons is a prime example. One of the voice actresses there, she voices so many characters. So it is important to also notice that as well. Even though they have 9 countries with female voice actors, some of them do end up showing more of a masculine voice for Mackenzie instead. However, then we also have the name issue coming back into it, especially in the Finnish version. In Finland, Mackenzie is absolutely a girl, voiced by a female, and the name is Michaela as well.
Wait, what?
I should add in here actually that Michaela in Finnish is a traditional surname or last name rather than a first name. So whilst that name would be traditionally female that we would see, it seems like in Finland that's a traditional last name. So that kind of adds a whole other thing into the mix as well.
Really?
So I went through these 9 different languages where Mackenzie is voiced by a female, which was Cantonese, Czech for season 1, Finnish, Indonesian, Japanese, Korean, Malay, Taiwan Mandarin, again for season 1, and Latin American Spanish for season 1. And honestly, Japanese is the only language I can understand and read and hear, so I get it. So when trying to watch some of these, I had to really listen for if they're putting in feminine inflections or masculine kind of inflections. So for me, the Japanese version for the episode Shops was the easiest one for me to tell, because even though you can sort of hear that Mackenzie's a little bit more of a feminine voice, I think it's meant to just be more childlike, because he does use the pronouns boku, which is for men or boys in particular. Rusty uses it as well. So it can tell, even though in the Japanese version he is voiced all the way through by Mirei, which is a female voice actress, he is still a boy in the Japanese version.
Yeah, I do, don't I?
The Latin American Spanish version, though, is also really quite interesting, because this is something that also came up in a lot of people's posts in the Bluey Facebook group. The fact that they use different types of pronouns like el, ella, and la, le kind of thing for Mackenzie in that same episode. So again, it looks like he was referenced as a girl in season 1, but from season 2 and 3 onwards, his voice actor changed to a male and he was referenced more as a male onwards.
Salta león feo.
Esposo, sea amable con el león.
Yo no soy tu esposo.
So, even though, officially, in the Australian OG version, Mackenzie is a boy,
Oh yeah, that's true.
there seems to be some sort of miscommunication between Ludo and the dubbing studios that Disney uses to specifically say that, yes, Mackenzie is a boy. Make sure that's how he's represented in the dubbing versions. Because, again, like I said, most of the time it seems like some of the female voice actors are pretending to be young boys, but the Finnish version is a perfect example of the fact that his name is Michaela and it's female.
It doesn't matter.
Now, I am going to really briefly talk about Indonesia, where Mackenzie is also voiced by a female voice actress, and also the whole idea of the shipping situation between Bluey and Mackenzie and how it's referenced in Bluey multiple times as well. So the reason I bring that up with Indonesia is because I kind of want to talk about the LGBTQ plus aspect with that as well, and how that relates to Indonesia and why it's kind of important for us as Australians. It's just something extra that I kind of want to add it in for you guys, especially those of you who don't know anything about Indonesia or aren't in Australia. I think it's just something that's really interesting.
There once were 2 6-year-old buddies floating around, nice and calm, not a care in the world.
Now, of course, there's the whole Bluey Jean-Luc shipping and Bluey Mackenzie shipping, and I don't know, I'm not going to talk about the whole idea of shipping child cartoon characters and things like that. That's a whole other kettle of worms. That's not what I'm specifically going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how the show has sort of made those jokes about them having crushes on each other, especially in the episode Barky Boats.
Ooh, Bluey's gonna marry Mackenzie. No, I'm not.
But then also in the episode Circus, where they do the same thing with Coco as well.
And I'm married to the lion tamer. Yeah! Wait, what?
And then I do also want to make mention that Indy also refers to Mackenzie like as a male and as a dad in the episode Mums and Dads.
Hi, Mackenzie. I'm going to play Mums and Dads with you. Because I'm never playing with Rusty again.
Now, for those of you who have watched a lot of my breakdowns, you know that Disney Junior in Southeast Asia, like around Indonesia and Malay, they are like really strict with their censorship. Like, you think America's censorship of Bluey is bad? It is nothing compared to Disney Junior Asia. Like, it is just so much more that they take out, like really weird, odd little things. But interestingly, especially specifically for Indonesia, they didn't take out any of those like husband, spouse, mum, dad kind of scenes at all. Like, that all stayed in there, even though Mackenzie is voiced by a female. And the reason I bring this up is because, again, Indonesia is very close to Australia. A lot of us have gone to Bali for holidays. It's a really big part of Australian culture going to Bali. They even reference it in Bluey as well in swim school, where they go to Bali on a vacation. As well as Christmas Swim, where Rad and Frisky are in Bali as well. So, you know, it's a big thing in Bluey, it's a big thing in Australia. But the reason I bring it up is because recently Indonesia has passed a lot of really anti-LGBTQ plus laws. Basically, they've just completely criminalized it. And it's been like a big thing in Australia where they put out like travel recommendations that people who are part of that community just don't go to Indonesia.
What?
So that's kind of like why I wanted to bring it up, because of course there's the shipping stuff and the stuff in Bluey that they talked about, like I mentioned, in Barky Boats and Circus and all that. But obviously in future episodes, we see more of this as well, and I will leave it at that. If you would like to know more spoilers, I did do a Beyond Bluey podcast with Pugly. I'll leave a link for it up here. You can find out more details there. So I am really curious about that, and it's just something I kind of just wanted to bring to light in case people didn't know, because I think human rights are really important, and this is just kind of like one of those really interesting ways that it kind of like gets involved with Bluey and these kind of situations with dubbing and things like that. So it's just some extra information that maybe you cheeky dogs didn't know about, but it's just something I thought that was maybe like food for thought.
So you're the mean. Me? Yes, you.
So, anyway, that's the whole thing. Mackenzie, yes, is a boy in the Australian version, and yes, is a girl in other versions like the Finnish version, Indonesian version, and other versions as well. But overall, yeah, Mackenzie is supposed to be a New Zealand boy who goes to school with Bluey.
Hooray!
And they live happily ever after.
Just be patient, children.
But cheeky dogs, let me know all of your thoughts and feelings down below in that comment section. I would love to know, in your country, is Mackenzie portrayed as a boy or a girl? Can you hear a difference with the different languages? Also the fact that like there are so many more languages now available on Disney Plus. Like, it was never available in Japanese before, and I just noticed that it is now, which for me is amazing because now I can use it as like a tool for teaching with my kids since they learn Japanese. So I just think that's really cool, but let me know all your thoughts and feelings down below as well. While you're there as well, don't forget to hit that like button, as well as that subscribe button and that bell for notifications so you know whenever I release any other Bluey videos. But until then, I have picked you cheeky dogs out a few other videos that maybe you would like to watch, and I will see you all in another video. Mwah! Bye!